with any of these platforms, I think everybody's always looking for a hack or tip, like, and there are little hacks and little tips, but I don't really think it works that way. I think you just have to be consistent and be patient.
I know some of you are barely starting back up today, so welcome. I've got Zac Shull with me, and today we're going to be talking about how he uses VAs when it comes to his business, and that business can definitely help you out as well. So Zac, tell me a little bit about you, how you started in this and what you're doing now.
Sure. Well, first off, like in the radio shows, people call in, they say, I'm a long time, first time fan. So I'm a long time Tristan fan, first time guest. So I'm honored to be on and talk with you. Your video content and your positive messages is awesome. So super excited to get to talk to you. But yeah, so I'm Zac Shull. I'm from Philadelphia area. I have a company called Coaches and Content, and I also have a podcast called Coaches and Content, where we help agents and coaches get clients through content. Whether it's short form video or having a podcast, a YouTube page. To me nowadays, a podcast is really audio and video. So I think a lot of people, they hear podcast and they just assume that it's just audio. But to me, everything starts with video. So it's really audio and video. And anyone who's watching this knows the power of video and the power of social relationship and how you can build a connection with people through videos and things like that. So we specialize in helping you, start a podcast, running the YouTube page, the podcast side of it as well. And then we make little micro mini clips from every podcast episode for your social media to promote. So essentially you can promote the same episode twice a week. And I do all this using VAs. So
how many VAs do you have right now?
I have about 4 right now.
And what are the 4 VAs doing for you right now?
So I have one main graphics person, and then I have another one just in case my other graphics person is busy. And then I have 2 videographers, 2 editors. So I have 2 graphics people, 2 videographers. And actually, this is something we could talk about too, is I'm looking to maybe expand to a social media VA. Because I'm also a moderator in Drunk on Social, and your team does such an awesome job there. So that's actually something I'm looking to expand to. So maybe we can talk about that. But right now, it's just videos and graphics.
I was trying to find my Drunk on Social hat. I don't know where I put it now that you mentioned it.
Oh yeah, I just got mine in the mail. Yeah.
I'll probably find it, man. Zac, that's kind of cool, man. So there's a few things that I want to unpack there for everybody listening in. One is that in the world that we live in, you should be gravitating to providing as much content as possible to connect with the audience, right? And YouTube, you mentioned YouTube and you mentioned podcasts. Well, YouTube is the number 2 most visited website in the world. And I'm assuming that the process you have, Zac, is you run this YouTube video, or the people that you're helping, right, run this YouTube video, you extract the audio, and then now you have your version of the podcast. So you're kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Is that the case? Or are we going deeper and saying you're also uploading the video into Spotify because they also allow video in there? What's that look like?
So yeah, generally we just take the audio from the video and upload it. It depends on the person, because some people, they like having an intro on their podcast. Some people like having their own commercials. Some people like to do an intro for their podcast. So it really depends, but generally you don't really have to do that unless you want to, for whatever branding purposes or personal choice. But generally you really can just, you edit the video, because, usually in the beginning of the video, before you start, you're usually breaking the ice with the person and maybe having a personal conversation a little bit before the interview and at the end of the interview, even though you already hit record. So you might have to do some slight editing, but for the most part, yeah, you just take the audio from the video and then that's your podcast. You just upload that.
I love that process, man, because it really lightens up the load for us as business owners. And I think, well, let me ask you, because I know I may be too intense. I'm going to ask you, what do you recommend most business owners real estate agents or outside of the real estate world. What do you recommend that they do on a weekly basis when it comes to YouTube? And should they extract that audio from YouTube or send it to you and you extract it? What does that look like on a weekly basis as far as content creation?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people realize that how simple it is to just take the audio from a video. Whenever I tell people this, they're like, oh, wow, like that's all I have to do. It's super simple to just take the audio from a video and that's your podcast. So I tell people, I'm all about repurposing content. So I've had clients who don't record any original stuff. And we literally just take the audio from a webinar that they've done and, cut out 5 or 6 minutes, give it a title, give it some context, and that's your podcast episode. So yeah, I would say any video that's over 5 minutes can easily become a podcast. So and everybody consumes media differently. So it just makes sense to repurpose whatever you can as much as you can.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a lot involved there. And the more I've gotten comfortable with a virtual assistant or virtual assistants, plural, the easier it's been for us to produce more and more content, and me not having to worry about doing it myself. So for me, and this is where I want everyone, and Zac, I want you to tell me how the process is on your side if we were to hire you too. But on my end, when I do the YouTube videos live, and I'm showing up in different groups and on Twitter and on LinkedIn and YouTube. So it's YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and multiple Facebook groups where I'm going live. That's just one video that I'm doing for 10 to 15 minutes where I'm talking about the real estate world. And then my team goes in, rips the audio, and now creates a podcast inside of Spotify. And then you can use Anchor or they can use Podbean, but right now we're using Podbean. But then they have the graphic, the thumbnail. This is why you need 2 graphic designers with what you're saying, right? We have the thumbnail done, uploaded there, and we have a whole different graphic for the podcast. And we do have an intro and an outro for the podcast, even though it's just the same thing, just on audio version for the podcast. And I love that you've been able to simplify that. So that's pretty awesome. Anything you can tell me along those lines that I may have missed when people are producing the content?
No, I mean, that's kind of what I try to do is we deal with a lot of high level people who are busy. So I try to tell them, listen, I'm trying to make it easy for you. You just need to think about what you want to record it, and we'll do the rest. And when you have a system and you have a team of VAs, it's kind of like plug and play where they know what to do. You just have to give them the content. I'm sure they have your commercials saved as audio files. So they just need to drop that in, drop the full file in and then drop the commercials in. So I think it's really a lot of, systems and SOPs, and it just makes things easier when everybody kind of knows what to do. They just need, like a conveyor belt. They just need the object to go on the belt, and then it just moves down the conveyor belt.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. That's it. So tell me what happens when somebody sends you a piece of content, just so we can process that as well, so people can see it. Like, I'm done. Let's just say I shot a video. Zac, I hired you. I'm sending you the video. What happens next?
Sure. Yeah. So this is kind of where, you can use VAs, they're great, but you still have to have the brains and the marketing kind of behind it. So, you need to have the right format of the video for it. If you want it to be on Instagram Reels, it needs to be a certain size. The captions need to be a little bit higher on the video, so the bottom of Instagram doesn't cut it off. It has to have the right branding. Some people like B-roll and music, some people don't. So you kind of have to work that out and what the person likes, what they don't like. And then usually I'll watch it. I'll find time clips of like what I think is the most compelling part. I'm a marketing nerd. I love marketing. I study it, stuff like that. So I always just try to find, I don't like to use the word clickbait, but whatever is like the positive term for clickbait, whatever the most engaging marketing part, you try to find like 2 or 3 timestamps that are about 30 seconds from like a 30-minute video. And then from there, you figure out, which clip is the most compelling. which one will make people watch it, and which one will ultimately make people go back and watch the full episode. That's really important too, is, the one clip is super important, but getting people to watch the whole thing is the ultimate goal, in my opinion. Driving them to your Apple podcast to become a subscriber, or sending them to your YouTube page. Like that's, I try to do everything with a purpose. So that's really ultimately the ultimate goal with these little clips, is to promote the whole episode. So I'll find some timestamps, and then generally I'll usually pick, once I work with a client for a while, I kind of know what they like or they don't like. But maybe in the beginning, I might have to say, hey, check out these timestamps. Let me know which one you like, 3 30-second clips. And then you just tell your VA, hey, this is the part we like. This is the part that's going to be the hook, the thing at the beginning that kind of puts the clip into context. So make this the hook, and start it from here, from when they say this to when they say this, end it there. And then there's just little things. So I have my personal podcast, Coaches and Content. So I'm really driving my Facebook group. So at the end, I have a graphic that always says, join our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/coaches and content. So I think there's little stuff like that too, where you have to figure out what you want it to look like, how you want it to feel. And then when you get on the same page, then you just direct the VA and kind of tell them what to do after you've gone over how it should look and things like that.
I like that. Where do we find you on YouTube?
If you type in Coaches and Content, it should come up. I just started my podcast about a month ago, so I think I have about 27 subscribers, but it should show up.
I just subscribed.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. That's awesome. I appreciate that. I have to.
Yeah, no, and I want to showcase that because we have some questions about that and about the editing. So I want to shift over really quick to YouTube, your YouTube, so we can kind of talk about this, because I'm seeing the shorts at the top, right? Right here, which is great, by the way. And then I'm seeing the other videos that are a little longer over here at the bottom with the thumbnails, right? And a lot of our friends I'm seeing there too. So that's awesome. So if I go to the videos, let's just talk about this. What's the strategy between this longer form video, right? And then a short that you've got, like, let's say here, because that's not bad. 105 views on a YouTube short is pretty good, right? I like that. So tell me the strategy difference between both, so people understand shorts and long form.
Sure. So I'm also in the process of all this. I'm kind of developing my own personal brand. So that's why you see some videos of mine. And not to get off topic, but we kind of talked about repurposing earlier. So what I've been doing is I'll do a Facebook Live, maybe about 3 to 5 minutes, covering a topic with the intention of taking out a clip. So like if you see like living a more fulfilling life, like that.
This one right here?
Yeah. So that's a 30-second clip from a 5-minute Facebook Live that I did. That's about, how to live a more fulfilling life.
Let me see
so
here.
I had it. Sure.
Let's see what this looks like. I like the graphics on the top. And then
do you put in, VA did all this? Yeah.
So your VA put in the captioning as well?
Yeah, so I did this Facebook Live, and then I went back after it was live. I went back, I put the whole thing on YouTube. Awesome, thanks. That means a lot. So I put the whole thing on YouTube, and then I have her make this clip, and then maybe like 2 or 3 days later, after I post the whole thing, I'll post this as a short. So I'm basically, I'm going live on Facebook, and I'm engaging people there. Then I don't even edit it. I just post the whole thing on YouTube. And then I have my VA make a clip out of that. So that's why you see
where's the full thing? Where is the full thing on YouTube here that I could find? Did you upload that one? The full right
actually
here?
I didn't. I think I need to upload that one. I think I missed that one.
Got it. Okay, good. That way people fully understand what you're doing as well. So if somebody, this is great. This is a great question for you, Zac, because you're just restarting this. This is newer. What would you recommend? I've got here a question. Zac, any tips on YouTube newbies? There you go. That one. You could see that question.
That's a great question.
Any recommendations?
Yeah, I think with any of these platforms, I think everybody's always looking for a hack or tip, like, and there are little hacks and little tips, but it doesn't really, I don't really think it works that way. I think you just have to be consistent and be patient. So it really just starts with creating and uploading. You have to, I tell people, try to make it part of your schedule. So maybe every Monday at 1 o'clock, 1 to 2, maybe you record 2 videos, and then you send it to your VA. Have them, I have my VA upload my stuff too to YouTube, and for the podcast I use Spreaker, so I actually have them upload the stuff as well.
What do you use? How do you spell that?
It's called Spreaker. It's like speaker but with an R.
Spreaker.
Spreaker. Yeah, I
And
can put
why
it
do
in
you
the chat.
use why do you use Spreaker?
Well, funny story. I'm a huge wrestling fan, like WWF, and I have a
Yeah.
friend who produces like one of the biggest wrestling podcast out. Um, so I asked him what he uses, and he recommended it. So I was like, all right, well, if he uses it, and this was kind of before Anchor and all these other companies came along. From what I've read from some of these other companies, they might own your IP, your own intellectual property. I'm not sure if that's
Mhm.
completely accurate, but that's kind of what I read. So that's kind of why because you do have to pay for Spreaker. But the other thing I like about Spreaker is you can have as many channels, as many feeds as you want under one account. So like I'm launching another podcast with a dietitian. It's called Mind, Body, Food. And it's like, the connection between the three. I'm already paying for Spreaker, so I can just add another podcast feed in my own one account. So that's what I like about Spreaker is you can have multiple feeds under one account.
All right, dude, I like that. And I'm just reading right now this recommendation by you. Now, let me just show my screen. For those
Sure.
of you wanting to start a podcast, really good option here. One thing that I didn't know, this made it so easy, make money with ads. So that
Yeah.
means they're giving you the option to be like, hey, open up your podcast and we'll put in the ads for you and you get a portion of whatever we're charging. I love that, dude.
Yeah. I think I've made like 50 cents so far. So it's better
Hey,
than nothing.
it's more than me. I've made zero money on the podcast. So because I don't advertise, but that makes it a lot easier, right?
I thought Anchor, you can't run ads on Anchor.
No, we just chose not to. That's all.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? It makes me think, should I? Should I? Zac, another question for you. What are the best apps or tools that your VAs use for editing videos, or any recommendations you have?
I think with a question like that, like if you're not personally editing it, I don't really think it matters what they use. I think it's just a personal preference, as long as they get the job done. And it's funny, usually they have, they use Adobe Premiere usually, or Final Cut Pro, but usually they already have their own accounts, which I find interesting is I haven't had to like pay for Adobe or anything because they usually already have it. Now, if they have it legally, illegally, I don't know. It's none of my business, but they all, so long story short, I know a lot of them use Premiere, Adobe Premiere, Final Cut Pro. But if you have a good VA, like that doesn't even matter. Like that never really even came up. Because they just produce results, you know what I mean? So that's really all that
Yeah.
matters. Like there's a million different ways you can edit it, but whatever they personally use, that's fine with me.
All right. I like that, man. And obviously, if you're looking for a VA for editing, graphic design work, anything along those lines, I always recommend Virtudesk because I use them, right? And Zac, you've got full right now. You're looking to add a social media manager. What does that look like in your head?
Yeah, so I think the title of this webinar, I think, was using VAs to really free up your time. And that's really what I'm trying to do is because I have other stuff going on. And while this is important to me, getting caught up in editing the video, uploading it to YouTube, tagging it, all that stuff, like my time could be spent on something bigger, so I've been writing the copy on social media. I've been posting it myself, and I love social media, but I don't want to do that stuff, especially if I don't have to. And that's why I love Drunk on Social, and all your stuff is like, the world is so small now. Like when I tell people about virtual assistants, it's not like someone just answers the phone and it's some foreigner. Like, no, like these are, first of all, they're all extremely grateful. They're all so hardworking. They're super respectful. They're really great people. and they like what they do. They work hard and they know their stuff. So that's why I was thinking about getting someone to kind of write copy for me and post stuff on social media. Because I post my stuff in different groups. As you saw, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, Facebook page. It's a lot
I
of
love
work,
that.
and yeah. So if it's
So tell me then, you're the one who's repurposing it into YouTube, putting in the description, putting in the hashtags, then you're uploading it into YouTube Shorts, putting the title, and then you're re-uploading it into Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, and TikTok, and then maybe LinkedIn and Twitter. Is that what you're doing?
right, yeah. So basically, to lay it out, how you really could do it is if you can write the title and the description, and you give that to them, then they can upload it to YouTube. They can just copy and paste your title and description. They can do all that. So I currently right now, I have someone uploading it, my video editor, I have them uploading it to YouTube and the podcast. And then I do the Facebook part, I do the YouTube short, the Instagram reel. But I think in the next couple months, I'm going to start giving that responsibility to either a new VA or my current one. Like, that's the thing too, is you get a VA from Virtudesk and you build a relationship with them. They're people just like you and I.
Dude,
So you get to know them, they're very personable, very friendly, they're super appreciative. And then as you see, you go, oh, well, they can do A and B. Well, maybe they can do C, D, E, and F. So that's kind of where I'm at now, as I'm seeing, what else she can do. So that's why you can give them more responsibility as you build a relationship.
dude, they can do, I do A and they do B through Z.
Yeah.
That's what's
Yeah.
happened so far.
Yeah.
And I I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without help. And I think people forget that virtual staff isn't just in the Philippines, right? Virtual staff is all over. It can be in the United States. It could be a combination of both, which is what we have. But it's just open up your mind and start looking at where you can leverage. And a lot of that has to do with the training. Zac, how did you train your VAs so that they produce the quality that you want?
That's a good question. So that's where it's kind of like, it's like anything else. Like if you go to a new dentist or a new doctor, like it's new. So you don't know if you're going to gel with them. You don't know, are they really good? Do they know what they're talking about? So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, you kind of feel it out. And, I got lucky. My first couple ones are great. But, sometimes you get people who aren't at the quality level that you would like. But what I do is I'm a student of the game. I like to say I study other people, like you and Jeff. That's how I think me and Jeff Fitzer have really bonded, because I love this stuff. I'm always asking him questions, who edits your video? Where do you get your ideas? I'm asking him questions about you sometimes, but I study, like, people, Russell Brunson and what's his name?
Love
Brad
Russell.
Lee, I think. Brad Lee
Yep.
does like a lot of sales stuff. So
Yeah.
so I will send them, I send them examples of other people's stuff. And most of the time they can usually do what I send them. The other thing too is I record a lot of looms. Are you familiar? You probably use Loom, right?
I love
Loom.
Loom. I just sent it to Blair. I don't know if you know Blair Ballin. I just sent it to him. I'm like, dude, use this.
Yeah, Loom's awesome. So basically Loom is kind of like Zoom, but it's easier to record. Like you could just record a quick video. So like I will find the video, I'll record a Loom and I'll say, hey, check this out. I like this. I don't like this. Let's try this. And that also saves you a conversation and a lot of time as well, because you might be busy and you can't get to them right away, but you need
Yep.
something done. So you say, hey, here's this Loom. This is what you need to do. Let's get it done. So that makes things a lot easier too.
I love that. And let me put in the link underneath too, just in case people are wondering where to go. Because there's two. Every time I look up Loom, because I don't use it as much, it sends me to the wrong site. So let me put that up here for Loom. All right. So do you outline everything that initially that your VAs need to do, like step by step? Do you shoot videos for them so that they understand? Or do you actually go through it with them, like hand holding and saying, hey, this is how I like it. This is the style I like. And here are some examples. What do you do? Give me the details.
The funny thing is with technology today is like, I think one of my VAs I've never even talked to or Zoomed with. Like I talk to all my VAs through Facebook Messenger. That seems to just be the easiest way. My one VA was a referral from another one. So like, that's another thing too. Once you get one good VA, they usually have a friend or know someone. So you could always ask them. I mean, you got to use Virtudesk first, obviously, but so I never really I've never Zoomed with them or anything. It's all through Facebook, or I'll send them a Loom. So it's a little bit, to answer your question, a little bit of both. So in the beginning, definitely kind of have to hold your hand. In the beginning, you definitely need to meet with your VA over Zoom, get to know them, talk to them, build a relationship. Because the better you treat them, the better, the happier they'll be, the better quality of the work. I mean, I just generally treat people like that in general, but it's especially true in this situation. On holidays, I give them bonuses, I give them gifts here and there. So you definitely want to build up rapport. But yeah, in the beginning, I'll show them what I'm looking for and what I need. And because it's a video and graphics person, I don't have a general like written description because it's all general, like I need graphics. You might need to tell them what size, what colors to use. You have to give them the collateral, like the headshots, the title, all that stuff. But yeah, so it's a little bit of hand holding in the beginning, and then as you work with them more, it becomes easier. And I send a lot of Looms usually. And then, like I said, through Facebook Messenger, I talk with them. And they work on your schedule. So I know you're in West Coast, right? You're in California.
Yeah, where are you, man?
I'm in Philadelphia.
Oh, nice. Philly.
Yeah.
What part of Philly?
In South Philly.
Nice. I don't know if you know Dale Archdeacon.
Yeah, I work with I work with Dale. Yeah, Dale's the man.
Yeah. Dale's not too far from you, dude.
Yeah. No, Dale and I work. I'm helping him with some of his podcast stuff actually. And I've helped him get on some podcasts. So yeah, Dale's a super awesome guy. We haven't met in person yet, but hopefully soon.
Dude, I love that. All right. So you communicate mainly through Facebook Messenger. It's funny, we communicate mainly through iMessaging. I know this sounds kind of weird, but because I'm in real estate, most of the time I'm on my phone, right?
Yeah.
All text. That's like the way I communicate. And one of the prerequisites when we're getting a VA from Virtudesk, we're like, just one prerequisite after they've passed everything. We need you to have some type of an device, whether it's an iPad, a Mac, or an iPhone. I don't care how old it is, as long as you can iMessage us, because we start creating groups in there between our whole team, and that's how we communicate. So
yeah, I think the point I wanted to mention was that how they work on your schedule. You think like a VA, well, if it's like right now, it might be 2:30 a.m. in the Philippines, but they work around your schedule, which is great. They'll work 9 p.m. to 5 a.m., whatever it may be. So that's the great thing too, is that they'll work around your schedule, and you need to kind of find someone to work around your schedule if you really want to get things done timely.
Very true, man. Very true. All right. So how do people find you? How do people get a hold of you if they have questions?
Sure. So you can find me, I'm on Facebook, so you can search for me, Zac Shull, ZACSHULL. I'm in this group, so you could always find me on this group. The podcast is called Coaches and Content. So I'm on, YouTube, all podcast platforms. So you could find me that way. I have a Facebook page. I have a Facebook group for coaches and content as well. So yeah, I'm really accessible. You can email me, Zac@coachesandcontent.com. So that's ZAC@coachesandcontent.com. So I'm readily available. You can find me on any platform, and I would love to help anyone watching. Send me a question, because honestly, using a VA really opened up a whole new world for me. Long story short, I used to work for Krista Mayshore. I was in part of her marketing team.
Nice.
And yeah, Krista's awesome. She changed my life and helped me kind of start my own business. But I didn't know about VAs until I started working with her, and it really just changed my whole life. And I think, one VA could it just leverages your time up so much. It can really change your life. So you should definitely contact Virtudesk today and get started.
I love that, man. Thank you so much. Zac, I appreciate you. Thanks for being on. Let's have you back on, dude. I want to see where you're at like 3 months from now, because it looks like you're on a good trajectory for growth.
Hey, whenever you need me, I'm here. I would love to. I appreciate you having me on. It was good to talk face to face, and hopefully one day I'll get you on Coaches and Content. We'll make that happen soon.
Yeah, that'd be great, man. Thank you.
Awesome. And
Thanks
everyone
everybody.
for
Thanks for
watching.
joining us. Thanks, Zac.
Thanks.